Welcome to the Grow Renaissance podcast. Let's nourish the world.
All right. Good morning as I tape this to our Grow community. Another Grow Renaissance series Pasture Prime Time episode with your host, myself, Neil, and our newer host, Amanda Smith. No direct relations, except two Smiths are better than one. Today we have joining us all the way from Florida, a very special guest that Amanda's known. She decided to tap him on the shoulder and invite him on to have a great discussion around us. He's a pastor, he likes agriculture, he comes from the beautiful continent of Africa. So we're really going to peel the onion, as it were, and start talking about all things spiritual, food, related to how we continue to nourish the brain, body, and soul. So Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne, I'm very privileged to have you on our podcast today. Thank you for being here. And Amanda, thank you for your your inaugural, since we announced it, position as co-host here. So I'll maybe drop the mic over to you, Amanda, and you can take it away.
Great. Thank you so much, Neil. And Doctor, thank you for coming on this morning. I've been very, very excited about this, and it has been a little bit of time since I was last in the church. You're welcome, sir. Very happy to find out all the incredible things that you're doing and just a little bit of history. You were a bit of a celebrity before I even met you for multiple different reasons. Obviously, your international religious presence. Also during COVID, I love to see that you refused to shut down your church because religion is essential, and that was quite an exciting time. So I had seen and known about you for quite a while prior to being blessed to have met you and to have attended your beautiful church. And the tours that I received around the Eden Project. I never did quite get out to your ranch, but you and I had many discussions about that, of having, the top tier beef cattle. One thing I can say about Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne is spare no expense on doing things the right way. A massive intention has always been kept there to be able to truly take care of the people and lead them with truth. As we know, the world can be a wild place, and there's a lot of things that are not truthful, that they try to guide and control the populations with. And I can say quite an advocate here of actually sharing factual information and finding out real solutions. So thank you so much, sir, for coming on this morning. I'm sure you're up to all different kinds of amazing things that I would love to hear about, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Well, we just finished 101 nations already that I've been to. Now, this is my 46th year.
Wow.
101 countries. So I've got a few more to go to cover the planet. But, doing this the way that I have, of course, growing up in Southern Africa, we grew food and whatever. And when I got to America, I saw the whole pollution of the food supply, and it really bugged me. I mean, we grew up with organic stuff, and everything's GMOs. And of course, all the animals eat the same nonsense. So you eat the animals that are eating the nonsense, So that's really been my burden, because we deal with a lot of people around the world. People are sick, and they don't realize just what they're eating, So they put in the food in their body, the chemicals are going to go somewhere. And then when I'm eating chicken, I'm eating fish or whatever, well, the fish are polluted, the chicken is polluted, the cows are polluted, whatever. So that always bugged me. And we've been involved in feeding people for a long, long time, because that's the job of the church. So what always bugged me was the fact that we had to give out GMO food, which how can I preach one thing and I'm living another thing? Yeah, and it really irritated me. So that's why we started to grow and teach people how to grow. So we got 6 farms around us that are working in conjunction with us that are growing food, and then we do a market on Sunday where people can come and buy fresh fruit and produce. I mean, they got to buy their stuff somewhere. They might as well come to us. And my goal was to establish this in all 67 counties of the state of Florida. So in the event of a food shortage, each county could trade or barter with another county, which I still can't get the pastors to see further than their noses. One guy came to me. He said, what has food got to do with preaching the gospel? And I looked at him. I went, Do you read the same Bible that I do? Did you ever hear about the feeding of the 5,000? What do you mean? What has food got to do with the gospel? We got to take care of people.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the problem. I'd say the number one blockage is trying to get pastors to see past their noses to realize if there's a crisis in a nation and the food supply is cut short, if you don't feed the people, then they're going to be in the bread lines. And that's how communism, that's what they do. They force you to the bread lines, and then you do whatever because your kids are starving, your wife's starving. And the problem is, if you study society, you know that in any major city, if they don't get food, I know this is a shocking statistic, what I'm about to tell you. If they don't get food in 9 days, they'll start to eat each other. Yeah. So, I mean,
Wow.
people start eating their neighbor, which somebody said they won't. They'll do it because it's a matter of survival. And that's what society has done for centuries. The moment they go hungry, they eat people. So I know this is probably shocking some people, and they don't want to hear what I'm saying, but I've studied history. I'm a historian. I can tell you what people do.
That's a surprising statistic, but I can see we've obviously got to come up with a better alternative so people don't get to that point.
Well, now all the beef supply is being cut short, so millions of cows are being destroyed. So why? They want to push all the bugs. So we've got to eat crickets, and we've got to eat all the stuff that Bill Gates wants us to eat. All these. I'm not eating a cricket. I don't care. I'm not John the Baptist. I'm not living off of locusts. That was John the Baptist, but he didn't even live long. He had his head chopped off. So, I mean, anyway,
right.
I know I'm playing
Mom,
around with words here. But
my mom tried to give me some secret protein bars, but refused to tell me what they were. I kept asking until I didn't eat it, and it was crickets, and I was not so happy about it. I know people who eat that as protein, and if you do, that's okay, I guess, but it's not for me. It's not for me.
I'm a beef eater. I'm a
Yeah,
cattleman, so I like steak.
that's much better.
Tell
Yeah.
us about your ranch, Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Okay, so I live in the middle of the forest. I have like 26 acres where I am. And then I have a land lease on another property, basically for life. The people know me for a long time. And they said, for the next, you don't want to use it anymore. About 250 acres with beautiful water source and everything. The problem, which maybe I shouldn't bring this up right now, but the problem we're having in Florida is that all the AI centers are sucking the water. So that's what people don't understand too. Everybody's happy about AI, but it's draining all our water supply. So that's something we're going to be dealing with. But anyway, I do know machines that can take the water from the air and stuff like that, which basically is where we're going to have to go to because of what they're doing to the water supply of the state of Florida, which is crazy to me. But anyway, it's a beautiful place. The people that have had it, apparently their family came into that county back in the late 1700s, and so it's always been a cattle operation. And so I've got 50 Angus certified, black Angus there, which because everybody wants me to change the color of my cows, and I said I'm not. I said, okay, I know there's different cattle ranches and stuff like that, but if when you go in a restaurant, you don't ask, can I have certified brown Angus, please? I like a white cattle steak. It's always certified black Angus. I'm just like a stickler for that, and I love Angus beef. Anyway, so we got 50 of them there. Then, which another thing that you're going to deal with is the slaughterhouses. Where do you go to get the stuff slaughtered? When you look at the control around the farmers and how it's like really hindering all the farmers, it's ridiculous. It doesn't matter if you raise chickens or you raise sheep. I also have sheep. I have St. Croix sheep because they are very hardy and they don't carry disease like some of the other sheep and stuff like that. So, and then of course we have chickens and stuff like, with eggs and pasture raised. I mean, they run free. At night we bring them in, and so it's been great fun for us. I mean, I just always grew up with that, and you can't get it out of your blood. And then with Operation Eden, which Amanda has seen, we have a whole process where we take all the fruit, and we freeze dry the fruit. And there's a 25-year life on that with all the nutritions locked into the fruit. So that's pretty phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, when you come again, you'll see what we're doing. It's pretty awesome. We had to do raised seed banks because we've got a very sandy soil here. So we have to bring the soil in, but I got my own compost heaps. Nothing gets wasted. Whatever fruit falls, we dry that out for the seeds, and then whatever we don't use goes in the compost heaps. So, and I have a seed bank here, which I also try to help as many people if they want to grow. I give people seed to sow. I sow to them a starter pack of seeds.
Amazing.
And I have seeds from around the world, and I've got some. I think one of my seeds, I can't remember what it is, but it's like 700 years old. The other one's like 250 years old. Original seeds,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I'm happy about.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And there's a lot to be said for pedigree seeds and heirloom seeds, just in how we're growing them. But when you provide them the seeds, and whether this is congregation or those coming into your network, are you also showing them or teaching them how to actually grow? Put it down in water. Is there some education around that?
All right, so we have like a little blue metal building at Eden, and it's like the schoolhouse where they can bring a group of 10 or 15 people and spend a week and be trained in how, because anybody can put a seed in the ground, but to get it to actual fact where it starts to produce, most people give up because they don't understand. 150 years ago, everybody understood growing. Today, they go to a store, so they don't understand how to nurture that seed and take it from where it sprouts and then bring it all the way to where it manifests fruit. They don't understand there's work involved in the whole thing. I was laughing because we got a lot of university graduates and we make agriculture part of what they're studying. And we gave one of the students a bag of seeds and said, "Look, plant this." So he didn't know. No one told him. He took the whole bag and tipped it into one little pot. And we said, "No, you plant a seed in a pot. You don't take the whole bag and throw it in there." So, but he didn't know. No one had told him. He wasn't raised around that. So it's quite interesting educating people on how you plant the right temperature. And of course, because we have a lot of heat here, we also have greenhouses, which are important. And then obviously, if you go up north into the freezing cold, but there's so much, like even the containers now they're coming out with that you can get and you can do growing on the inside of that. So I'm trying to help people grow in the different realms, and then with the climate control, you can grow year round. You can grow year round with climate control. So
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. That's so great to hear, though.
Yeah.
How much do you talk about? Because you're in a very interesting intersection. The faith and food, the two big F's in the world that we need, and so the dependence on faith as you're thinking about farming, as you're thinking about stewarding land. You talked about the water consumption. There's also another part that's happening, and Florida is actually leading the way, which is creating living water versus dead water, because a lot of our water is dead already. So talk to me a little bit about how you juxtapose the faith and the food component in the conversations. I'm sure you've been doing this day in, day out, but
well,
I'd love to hear a bit about that.
okay, because I'm a pastor and I'm trying to help many people that are sick. So we even have like a healing school where people come for 2 weeks. There's no charge. We don't charge anybody, but they spend 2 weeks praying with them and speaking the word of God. Because a lot of people come to us, they're in stage 4 cancer or their final, I don't know why they only come to us when the doctors have already taken out half of their body. I always get the people that are like on the final thing. I said, look, at least you can come here and you can die here, and we make sure you go to heaven. Which is crazy. But I mean, they come to us when they've gone through every medical center, when they've even gone to Mexico, when they've even gone to alternative. Then they show up at us, and we are seeing some major breakthroughs. but it's not like I want to. But then even when they come, we have to sit and talk to them about their diet, like how much coffee they're consuming, what they're drinking, the soda that they're drinking, all that kind of stuff. So because of that, that's what forced me to begin to talk to people about what they eat. But people don't, they're not going to listen. They're going to still go reach for their bag of Cheetos.
Right.
Amazing that
which is
nobody
not
brought
even
that up
real,
with
you
the
know.
fire. Crazy.
With what?
It's wild that nobody would have brought that up and gone over that with them after they've gone through that whole series of professionals to get cured.
People like the junk food. It doesn't matter. We have a restaurant on our property, and we do like organic, and it's like Michelin style restaurant. They will leave my
Wow.
place and go straight to Burger King. They'll leave my place and go to Steak and Shake, and I go, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But they want those
Being there
fries. They
with you
want
and your
those
family.
whatever the. Well, wait till you
Mhm.
come again. It's next level now. I mean, we've taken it to another whole level, and we're doing
It
farm
was
to
next
table
level
kind of thing.
last time I was there.
No, we've really promised you. It's like, yeah, because it's all part of the Culinary Institute. That's part of the university. So I mean, the stuff we do, people come in there. They say to me, "I think we just ate in the finest restaurant in America," and that's what I look for to make sure everything's done. We don't open any can. We don't take any. Everything's made from scratch.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and so our chef she's phenomenal in what she does. So
Yeah. And do you get into even tracing source of origin? I mean, a lot of it's coming from your own farms, I'm assuming, but anything that's not, are you providing or collecting some of that information? Is that important to you?
I mean, I think some of the okay. So let me talk about the cattle then. Okay,
Yeah.
because I had people come to me and said, "You're losing money on your beef." I said, "What are you talking about?" They you need to fatten them with grain. I said, "Cows
Mm-hmm.
don't eat grain; they eat
Mm-hmm.
grass." They said, "Well, you're losing a lot of money. You're losing 400-500 pounds a cow." I said, "I'm not looking to make money off of a cow that's got grain in him. I
Mm-hmm.
want grass fed, grass finished." And my beef tastes totally different to the other stuff because
Mm-hmm.
people want that marbling, for whatever they want that fat marbling, but they don't understand it's total poison going into them. That's the problem that I am having with mindsets. And then, of course, the government in the state of Florida is now paying farmers per acre to plant the GMO hay. Somebody said, "You can get your hay for next to nothing." I said, "Why would I do that?" Well,
Yeah.
and then they said to me, "Well, the people don't need to know. They're still going to buy the steak." I said, "It's not about the people knowing. I know. And I won't
People
eat
don't.
it. If I'm not going to eat my own beef, then we have a problem."
Yes.
So
So there's two things I really want to ask you. One, do you create your own bourgeois at your restaurant?
I do.
Seeing as
We
you're from
do.
the brilliant. So I'm coming to visit because I can't get enough. And two, I'm a cattle guy myself. We do a lot in the cattle, but just recently I was working with a legend. In my opinion, he's a legend. He's actually living in Florida himself. His father started the whole holistic movement all the way in Zimbabwe, and so Roger Savory was chatting to me, and we were talking, and he said to me, cows aren't herbivores; they're carnivores. And I stopped and I said, how explain this? He said, no, think about it for a moment. And I said, when we actually think about what cows do, they search for the highest protein components in the forage that they're eating. And so, in theory, what he was saying is that we've been directing them to eat things that don't have the right protein factors. And when we think about them searching, they will actually guide us to plants that are diseased. They'll be eating things that we don't think that they'll typically eat because they're intuitively aware of what has protein and nutrients. And so you can get them off salt blocks and you can finish weaners in 11 months and you can get the fat ratios in 03, 06. But it's just, and I loved what you said, it's thinking about how you are feeding the animals differently. And that's the education piece, people like paradigm shift that people need to think, change, because the flavor and taste at the end of the day, when we get it to slaughter, really does make a difference. I also think there's a lot to be said for the energies and the frequencies that are consumed within the plants that the animals are eating that then we digest as well, right? And so there's this trifecta that happens.
Things when I was down there at the Eden Project, you guys were utilizing frequencies as well as aquaponics and truly some phenomenal cutting-edge technology that Roger was implementing there at that time. Have you had any new progressions for the Eden on new technology?
We've had a turnover of people. I'm working on another whole thing. I do know when you play music to your plants, they do better. And there's certain frequency you have to use, which they changed the frequency of music from 432 hertz to 440, which 440 hertz keeps you on edge. So when you take it to 432, it's like a calming effect. So I do a lot of music. I write songs through AI, and I program it to 432 hertz because it's that whole feel when you walk in a store and they're playing that music and you just want to hurry up and get out of there. Even in a restaurant, you don't feel relaxed in a restaurant. So much noise, the music's so loud, you can't talk to each other. So sometimes if I go eat at a restaurant, I call the waiter over and said, "Do you mind turning the volume up a little bit more? I'd love to not hear myself," because I'm being facetious. So, "What do you mean, sir? Turn the volume up." I said, "Well, I mean, it's blaring. You might as well turn it up more." So we can't even converse with each other. "Well, I'm sorry, sir. That's the way they like it." I said, "Look, do you want me out of here quickly? Obviously, the music's loud, so I must eat quickly and get out of here because you want somebody else to come in." No, okay. I said, "Call the manager over." Then I talked to the manager. "Is everybody deaf here? Do you mind just turning it down?" Then they turn it down, but that only takes some persuasion because I said, "I don't need to come here and be blasted by music. I came to eat food. I didn't come here to listen to music. And your choice of music anyway sucks. So
yeah.
I'm sorry."
I remember Roger was saying he was testing this at Eden, that he scientifically proved that all music was good for plants except for rap and punk. He said those two did not help plants grow, but all the other kinds were actually quite healthy for the plants.
Isn't that crazy?
I can believe it. I mean, a lot of the stuff just keeps you on edge, and then the words are the worst.
Yeah.
If you talk to your plant, if you scream at them, they don't grow well. Jesus cursed the fig tree. Jesus cursed the fig tree, and the thing dried up overnight.
Yeah.
Kind words.
Well, there is a lot to be said for that. I'm always reminded it's something that my grandmother said. She said, be very aware of the words you use. They call it spelling for a reason. The spells that are cast through the wrong iterations or alliterations of words that we use. And that's resonated with me, throughout my life, and even how I talk to the animals. As much as some days those cows or those bloody cows, love to get my goat. It is very true. What we say, does have a long-term effect.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for my animals because they're going to slaughter. So I call all the cows over. They come up to the fence and they listen to me. They're chewing, and I'm talking to them. And I said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're all going to die. So you're all going to die. I apologize, but people are going to enjoy you. So they know. The cows know when you take them to slaughter. Do you know that? The cows know. They all know. They know when that truck comes up, and I can just see them talking to each other. This guy is so kind to us. He feeds us so well, but he's going to kill us all. And then the younger cows, no, he would never do that to us. I can always see them talking to each other. He would never do that to each other. Oh, yeah. That happened to Molly. Molly got taken away. And, Bernie got taken away the other day.
I could see them conversing on that too. That's wild.
But I do feel sorry for them. But hey, that's what they're there for, to be eaten. I'm not going to go eat crickets to save that. Somebody said, "I can't believe you'd kill God's animals." I said, well, the Bible's very plain. Talks about a doctrine of devils is when they start telling you to abstain from meat. You can't eat meat because the cows, the fluctuations of the cows is warming up the planet. There's not enough cows. If they all ate beans and they pass gas 24/7, they could not warm up the earth. It does not operate that way. So that's how stupid people are.
It's definitely not from cows.
Yeah, it's been a bone of contention. Yeah. It's definitely a bone of
Well,
contention.
you guys must struggle over there because you have some of the most beautiful country on the planet. And
Yeah,
California is
yeah.
like amazing. Like California is like stunning.
Yeah. Yeah, so I actually grew up in California. So I'm from Phoenix originally. We moved here when I was 7, 8 years old. Lived here until I moved to Florida in 2019, and literally just moved back to California just a couple of days ago. We'll be here for about a year or so. It is one of the most gorgeous states that I've ever been to. Just we used to go surfing and then snowboarding same day. We'd go snowboarding first and then go surfing. I don't know anywhere else that you can do that. There's a few reasons I had sworn I would never move back, but here I am. But yeah, it's truly gorgeous. And Neil's up in Canada. Another gorgeous.
Oh, where in Canada are you, Neil?
In Saskatchewan, so the middle of Canada, good farming country.
It's beautiful up there. I was up in Edmonton last year.
Brilliant.
Yeah, actual fact, they wanted me to come to the city of Edmonton, and I said, no, I'm not coming. They said, why? I said, because I was here in 2019, and the moment I preached the gospel and gave the altar call, people started leaving, and I said, you were rude. And I said, there were people coming to the altar that were giving their life to Christ, and you walked out at 9 o'clock. I said, I only had one service, and you people left. You're just rude. I'm not coming back. So they said, no, you've got to come back. I said, no, I'm not. So then they said to me, well, how would you come back? They said, we'll get an arena. I said, I'm not coming to any arena. I said, here's what you can do. Find me a field, and I will come. I want to be close to an hour and a half to 2 hours outside the city. Get me a farm somewhere, put up a wooden stage. And you know what? In 8 weeks, I had 8,000 people on that farm.
Wow.
They came from everywhere in Canada. They drove 40 hours. It was the craziest thing ever. I was there Friday night and Saturday morning, and I came home. That was amazing. Now everybody's calling me, can you come to Saskatchewan? We've got a field for you. And then Calgary called, can you come to Calgary? We've got a field for you. So I'm planning to come back, but just taking a field on a farm, and then I can talk to people because nobody leaves. Nobody leaves.
Yeah.
Everybody just, it
Yeah.
was phenomenal. I had the greatest time ever. Seriously.
That's so
That's
great.
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. And I'll be keeping an eye out for the next field you're in Canada here. And certainly if you're in Saskatchewan and need a field, I know a few.
You do?
Saskatchewan is, yeah, it's a large landmass. Most of it, about 40% is farmland. So you don't have to go too
Yeah,
far.
when I looked
to
at
travel.
when I looked at the wheat fields, when I looked at everything, I was just shaking my head. I said, that's, I mean, I know this podcast goes into Canada, but when I see what the government's doing to just
Mhm.
hinder it's the most beautiful country. And I've been all over Canada. I've been to the Arctic Circle Inuit. I've been right up on the Arctic Circle. So I've been all over Canada. And then I'm friends with Matthew Kuncombe, was former Grand Chief at the Cree Nation of Quebec, Canada. So I've been up into Mistissini. I've been to
Yeah.
Chibougamau. I've been all over. And I love Canada. Canada's amazing. You're going to find this funny. So when I was there, they started shouting, "We want to be part of America." So I said, "Hold it, hold it." I said, "No, Canada needs to remain Canada. We love Canada.
Mhm.
I don't want Canada to be America. Then it becomes one of the states." I said, "I love Canadians. I think Canada is a country all by itself, and it needs to be by itself." So they said, "No, we." People say, "No, we
Mhm.
want to be annexed." I said, "Listen, let me tell you. If I come here and I'm going to take Edmonton, I'm going to have to kill all of you and then take your property because that's how you make the country yours. You don't let the people live. You kill them all and you take their property." So then they looked at me. I was joking with them, but I said, annexation of a land, you don't let the people still stay there. So they weren't too happy with that. So I said, no, obviously I wouldn't kill anybody, but you all want to become part of America. I said, you really need to be Canada, and you guys need to stand and fight for what is rightly yours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's very interesting times, but I think the sovereignty of Canada will prevail as we move forward here. But yeah, I actually just got back from Ottawa. I was up in Ottawa, the capital of Canada, at a farm show, and so there was a lot of chat up there. Of course, Quebec has long been vocalizing the separation from Canada, and we had a lot of Albertans in Ottawa as well. So certainly it gets a lot of airtime, but I think one thing that Canadians are really good at is we talk things to death. And so there won't be
Yeah.
very much traction. We'll just have a lot of good conversation.
Canadians are amazing. To watch those combine harvesters move together, it's mind blowing. It's like just to watch those combine harvesters.
Yeah. Yeah, and those combines just get bigger and bigger year by year. And when we do the, as we call it, the goose V shape, and we've got 6 or 12 on a field at once, it's something. We actually had a demonstration. I should send you the photo of this. There was one field, and I think there was something like 100, 120 different combines, and it was for like a Guinness World Record or something. But every color of combine under the sun, and it spanned. I think it ended up spanning 6 or 7 fields. They all just moved at once, and they had drones flying around. It was
Wow.
great. Yeah.
Please share that. I'd love to see.
Amazing. So, Amanda, are you telling me now you're not coming back to Florida? You're going to be staying in California?
For about a year or so, I'll be out here, but I'm absolutely coming back to the farm. We can plan a trip, and I'll fly out. I would love to see it.
Okay.
I'd love to attend the church again, see Adonica, see your family, all of it.
Yeah, well, we need help here. We need help here in the state. There's a lot of situations working against us in the legislation of the state. We're fighting on every level, locally and then at a state level. And
yeah, we should find a time to talk. I'd love to hear about that. I don't know if I had ever mentioned to you, but prior to coming into agriculture, I was working as a field PR, and I helped get bills passed into law in the state of New Mexico for human rights, parental rights, things like this. I would love to hear more about that, because we're definitely on the same mission.
okay,
We all are.
yeah,
We're all
we
doing
definitely
our
can.
section. Yeah, let's do it. I would love to hear about what you're doing, and we've got some pretty incredible things we can deep dive into with Grow United, with the blockchain of how we're utilizing this to have data sovereignty for farmers and ranchers around the world. Many other incredible aspects of that technology. So we should set something up, whether we can start with a Zoom, but then an in-person will be required. You let me know when, and I'll make sure that I'm there.
Well, what would be great is if you came and addressed the university, and the same.
That'd be great.
I offer the same to my Canadian friend. Anytime you want to come down here, I'll put you in a hotel, feed you, look after you. Just get yourself to Tampa, and then come talk to the university, because I have Canadians here in the university as well. So there are people that are here. They're trying to find a solution, and you can talk to them, and we can work some solutions out. So
Sounds great. And as you mentioned earlier, the air-to-water generators, I've actually been working on some projects regarding the data centers to try to make it so that they didn't utilize and steal all the agricultural water. So yeah, there's many different aspects of this. I think that when I was there the first time, I've been to the Eden Project, I believe, 3 times. But the first time I was there, I went into the school, and I believe it was 10, 12 different students that were in there learning about seeds. So it's pretty phenomenal, all the different aspects that you've got. I would love to see the evolutions of how it is today, and if we can contribute in any way, just count us in. It'd be such a pleasure.
yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Well, as we're getting to the end, we usually take these about 40 minutes here as we're getting closer to that time frame. I know you've shared a lot about your land and your congregation, but and where you're going to be in Canada in the upcoming future here. But I'd love to give you a platform, Dr. Rodney, and just to share any messages you want our audience to hear and be left with, or any events that are coming up in the near future here that you think would be interesting. And certainly I'll take you up on that offer. I'll be down there. I've got a long litany of information I love to share as it relates to biodynamic, regenerative agriculture and how we can really steward the lands more effectively, leaving our ecological space better than we found it while still nourishing the body. So those are 2 key things.
Phenomenal.
But floor is yours to share away here.
Okay, because obviously my number one calling is to preach the gospel. So we travel the world, and we tell people, we are, as you can see, according to the scripture, we're living in the final hour right now before the return of Jesus. And I tell everybody, you got to get your heart right. And the only way to do that is to surrender your life. It's not about a church membership per se, because a lot of people go to church, but their hearts are still wrong. It's about inviting Jesus to come and take full control of your life. It's about surrendering your life to Him and repenting and saying, I need you as a Savior. Would you come and save me? And so that's what I do. And I try to tell people, because people think God is angry with everybody and He wants to kill everybody. God's not like that, not from Scripture that I read. God actually, because the Bible says in John chapter 3, verse 16, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send His Son to the world to condemn the world, but that the world through Him might be saved. So the proclamation of the gospel, which being in 101 nations, and I traveled throughout the Middle East, I traveled to many different nations, and I preach the same thing. I don't go in and condemn people. I don't go in and attack what they believe. I just talk about Jesus and then invite people to surrender their life to Him. So if there's anybody watching and, somebody say, well, I don't believe in God, I tell them, well, God believes in you. You say, I don't believe in God. Okay, well, that's fine. It doesn't matter. He believes in you. That the Bible says God is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to the knowledge of the truth. And that's why we proclaim the gospel, the good news. So if people don't know Him today, just invite Him into your life. Say, please take full control of my life and confess Jesus as your Lord and Savior. He died for you on the cross. He shed His blood for you. He paid the price for your sin so that you could go free. And if you identify with that and you realize your need for Him and you invite Him into your life, He will come and take full control. We have people that were total alcoholics, drug addicts, drug dealers, gangsters, whatever, and then people that are billionaires or millionaires, and the same thing. They own everything, they have everything, but they came to the end of themselves and they cried out, and the Lord came, touched them, totally turned their life around. And now they're serving Him. They're not attached to the things they have, but they're out helping people. And that's what we got to try to do, is help as many people as we can. And that's my goal, to try to help as many people as I can. I don't care what denomination they are, I go to Egypt, I go to Dubai, I go to Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Qatar, Turkey. I mean, we're all over the place. And I treat everybody with kindness. And I never talk down to people. I never do. And if it wasn't for the grace of God, we could all be lost. We would all be in trouble if it wasn't for God's grace and His mercy and His kindness to us. So anyway, I just tell everybody that are watching today, surrender your life to Him. Just say, and yes, when a guy said, I don't believe in God, I said, okay, then here's what you do. You say, God, if you're real, reveal yourself to me in a way that I cannot deny that you're alive. And many people have had their lives turned around that way, because God will show Himself to you in a way, obviously through His word, but He'll become real to you when you realize, I didn't just come about. I didn't evolve. I didn't come from some swamp gas or from some amoeba or some, it's amazing how people can believe in evolution. So I told one guy, because he said he believed in evolution, I said, well, I better check out maybe that one of my cows is your great grandmother. So I shouldn't have probably said that, but I did do that. But anyway, I said, I don't mean to eat your great grandmother, but anyway, there you have it. So anyway, people need to cry out to the Lord. There's so many hurting people today, and there's so many needy people today. But I know that if they call on the name of the Lord, God will come and deliver them. So
Beautiful.
Thank you for what you're
Beautiful.
doing, Pastor. It's been pretty phenomenal. I've had the experience of when you invited me to attend the River Church based in Tampa, Florida. Front row center, amazing music, amazing sermons. The energy was phenomenal. I mean, there must have been 3,000, 5,000 people just there for the Sunday morning, and I believe that was just one that you had that day. But they have this huge area. Go ahead.
Were we inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay, yeah. So the outside arena, we did that during COVID because we went outside because of our Canadian brothers that were standing in the ice and snow having church. So that's why I did the stand. I said, as long as my Canadian brothers are suffering, we're going to be outside. But the Floridians got mad at me. They said, we want to go inside. I said, don't take this lightly. I said, there's people, they're baptizing people in water and ice. I said, come on. This is not, it's not a game we're playing. This is real. But anyway, yeah, no, everything's good. My wife's got a big ladies conference. She has about nearly 4,000 ladies coming in so far next week. So Adonica is going to do the whole ladies conference. So she's really excited about that. And we try to help all the ladies we can, so all good. I do have one event coming up. I
realize I have problems with my internet or something's got a delay. My apologies.
Yeah, one event that you could pray about is the Washington, D.C. We're going in for 16 days over the 250th year of America. We're going in from the middle of June till about the 10th of July. And we're taking 1,000 people that are going to help us witness and talk to people about Jesus all over the Capitol. So that's one thing that we are. It's a big event this year. Because without Jesus, there's no hope. Really, there's no hope. And so the gospel must still stand. When everything's said and done.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That is very powerful message, and thank you for that, and definitely will be in my thoughts and prayers here. And any of you listening in the audience and you want to reach out to Pastor Rodney, we'll put the information in the links below here in this episode, and whether you're watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify, in the comment section or the information section, there'll be some links. So thank you again for spending some time with us, sharing some of your information, some stories. I love the intersection of faith and food, and we continue to nourish the body and the soul in no particular order, the other way around or vice versa. I look forward to more conversations and to meeting you in real life in the near future here.
It's going to be great. Well, thank you to both of you. Thank you for your kindness to me, Amanda, and my dear friend from Canada now. I don't know why I kept thinking you were in California, but those cows behind you, what are what are you?
Yeah, so this is a head nod to the cattle breed that I grew up with, which are Highland cattle, which are very specific to more northern climates, of course, very
cold
famous
weather
in Scotland. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go out and you bring them in, do you wear a kilt?
I do have many kilts. Yes, I've got a Scottish.
So they can feel at home. At least you should be running around in a kilt.
A little bit brisk in the winter, but yeah, we could make it happen. Brilliant. Thank you so much to both of you. Blessings, and we'll catch you all on our next episode. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Bye.